Linton alongside Jarom Jordan. It is our pleasure to welcome in former BYU basketball sharpshooter, European basketball standout, and a man who is currently facing a one-game suspension for a faulty projection, Jonathan Tavernari.
Well, he had it last week, I think, right?
I already covered, all right? So I'm back on the game now.
Let's rewind to your undefeated prediction with us just a little while ago.
As long as this team stays healthy, they're not losing again.
So you think they're going to beat Gonzaga at home?
I do.
Okay, Jonathan. BYU goes out and loses to San Francisco.
The very next game.
Though they were up 14 on the road, gave up a career high to a guy that came off the bench. Frustration for sure. It didn't hurt BYU in the metrics, but what do you have to say for yourself?
I mean, BYU was up by 14, and it took a guy putting on his Calvin Cambridge Jordan 1s type of like Mike movie or whatever to beat BYU, right? And they still lost by 1. Give credit to San Francisco. I mean, at the time, and if you guys notice, BYU was down 2. They purposely fouled Yoli. And Yoli went to the line, and I mean, Yoli should never even been playing, let alone. And he went there, and just it didn't go BYU's way. But I firmly believe that BYU still. I don't know about running the tables now because you have that one extra loss, but the way that they poised themselves on Saturday against St. Mary's, how they played, and I will say this: Yoli did not play a great game. I felt like Yoli had 19 points, but that's what you expect from one of the best players in the country, from a senior leader. But Yoli didn't play very well, and he was also in foul trouble. And when you put the way and how TJ played with how Yoli played, and the room, for Yoli to kind of be a little bit sharper, and the fact that they, again, gave up almost 30 points to a guy that's like a tweener, between a 3 and 4 on Fitz, I think BYU has the chance to, except of the Gonzaga game that you just let the cards fall and you look forward to that game. But I think BYU has a chance, again, to beat all of these other smaller schools. And based on how games went, why not have BYU beat Gonzaga at home? I mean, the environment was amazing. Watching the game, being present. I mean, it felt back like, when 10, 15 years ago when I was here, that most of the conference games were sellouts and just things would just pack the Merit Center. And I think that a lot also stays with the fact of how's Jake doing. You know what I mean? I know that
ankle's a big question.
I know that he's on a boot, and I know that and I tweeted that, and I was amazed, and I thought that it was genius of how he tweeted himself of the Paul Pierce chair.
Right?
However, I will say this: that type of injury, it is not easy for you to play through. Because you can shoot it, but after about 10 minutes after the fact, it starts hurting again, and you can't keep shooting. I broke a foot. I fractured my foot in 3 places in the exact same way that he got hurt. And I think that right now it's a level 3 or a grade 3, and he's going to be out for at least 2 weeks. And so it's almost like this season as most being like, oh, we're going to get the good news. But there's always a little bit of a bad news always attached to it. But these guys have been phenomenal fighting a way to play through it. And, there's nothing that you can doubt out of this team and Mark Pope anymore.
Yeah, certainly a challenge. At Portland is a game that BYU probably could win without Jake Toolson, of course. But San Francisco at home on Saturday, that same team is here. The quick turnaround. So if Jake can't play, how does that change things for BYU Saturday against San Francisco, for example?
Well, I think that the way you look at you expect more out of Alex, right? I mean, Alex against San Francisco, against St. Mary's, didn't have as much of an impact as we're used to him. So I think that at that point, next man up, I think you see more of Alex involved. Think that you also see a little bit more of Connor Harding, and I'm a huge fan of Connor. I mean, ever since we started doing this season, I've always said I thought Connor deserved more playing time, and what a tough kid. So I think that at that point you kind of try to make up that difference of what Jake produces with Alex playing a little bit more on the ball, maybe creating a little bit more off the dribble. Not so much out of a pick and roll per se, but maybe after penetration. And Connor gets a little bit more playing time. And so it's a big difference, though. And Jake is a huge key to this team. But I think there's a big difference you replacing maybe TJ or Yoli at this point of the season right now. Or maybe having to kind of make up the difference that Jake is. However, I mean, don't get it twisted. I mean, there was a couple of games ago that I get against Pacific that Jake went off. If it wasn't the Jake Toolson show, BYU wasn't going to win. And so not to discredit Jake at all because he is a difference maker and one of the stars of this team. But for one game or maybe a couple of games, making up that difference in that position per se is not as difficult as maybe a TJ going down or Yoli going down or even Kobe going down because of his, inside presence. And
TJ's a question mark given, had the baby. That's great. Everything's going well. But how much energy is he going to have? How tired is he going to be? Did you ever have kids in season?
Oh, thankfully no. But I will say this. At the beginning of the season when my wife and I had our boy, it was not easy. And credit goes to her 101% because up all the time, let me rest for me to go and get ready for practice and games. But it's an emotional toll, right? And it's not easy. And I will say this, TJ, and I say this over and over again, TJ does not get enough credit. He is scrutinized and he gets, I don't know why, but he gets a lot of unfair negativity. I cannot imagine how he was feeling, unfortunately, a couple of years ago, I had a game. We just landed in Paris. My wife was telling me that, she had to go to the hospital. We just lost a baby. And I can relate to that. My mind was everywhere but in that game. I mean, you still execute the X's and O's of defense, and she's back in Italy. Our family's in America and in Brazil. And I'm in France, and it's complicated. It's complex. And so props to him for delivering and how to deliver it. I mean, you look at the box score and like, well, TJ had 24, 20, however many he's had. And you're like, he probably had 40 of how his impact had on the game. And so kudos to him, hats off to him. I don't think TJ gets enough credit.
Jonathan Tavernari with us on BYU Sports Nation. In your defense, going back to your statement a week ago, you said as long as BYU stays healthy.
He brings this up almost like he wants to.
I'm defending you right now. Okay.
Thank you. Keep going.
You said as long as BYU stays healthy. Well, we don't know how healthy Yoli Childs is. He's still recovering from his finger injury.
Or he was at San Francisco.
Right. Okay. Jake Toolson, we've talked about his ankle. So considering those things, the current health state of this team, does BYU have enough to finish second in the West Coast Conference and earn that double bye in Las Vegas?
That's an interesting question. Looking at this team, I really feel this team has gone above and beyond expectations, at least when delivering when it's needed. Nobody's going to prove me otherwise. San Diego State is undefeated, but we should have won that game. Boise State, it's an asterisk. But this team has delivered. I mean, look at Houston. Right, and nobody's expecting that. A really high finish at Maui, nobody's expecting that. And so I do feel like this team, when they're locked in and Mark Pope knows how to get these boys locked in, they figure out a way to come through. And again, it's one of those things that as a player and as a coach, you really try to bottle. Because if you could have the same energy, the same enthusiasm, the same focus, the same preparation and the same execution that BYU had against Houston, in Maui, against St. Mary's. Let's be clear. Except with Gonzaga, the number one team in the country, who's running the table on the West Coast Conference, they should not lose to anybody. And
so you've come around to the Gonzaga idea.
Well, but the reason why I'm saying is because with the Gonzaga team, and I've said this over and over again, you let the chips fall. But you're playing at home with 20,000 people yelling and screaming. It's not going to be a walk in the park of the Cano, right? It's just not taking your puppy to play in the park. It's going to be a battle, right? And it's going to be hyped and so forth. And so I do think that this team has the tools to be able to get to the point and keep that second place. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. guys are going to have to step in. I wouldn't be surprised if how long this Jake Toolson injury lasts, if they look at maybe having Zach play some 3, because Zach has predominantly played a 4 or more of an inside, almost kind of like I played, but then maybe, even bringing Gavin Baxter back.
Huge question mark, right?
And I'll say this. I love Coach Pope. I love Gavin. I can imagine what both are thinking right now. My personal opinion on this is Gavin should not come back, and he should keep his redshirt year.
He thinks he's going to leave in 3 years regardless.
Right.
So he doesn't care. That's why if he can, he's going to come back.
And again, and that's why I say at that point, you have to consider that, right? And it's tough because,
why would you sit him if he's like, in 3 years, I'm out anyway?
You know what I mean? And so at that point, you do play him because if this is a guy that's saying he's a grown man, right? We're not talking about a high school kid.
Yeah.
Gavin has, as we said in Brazil, he has his head on his shoulders. But at that point, you do play him because he said, well, listen, we win or lose, rain or snow, day or night, I'm out of here as soon as I get my diploma. You do play him, but what a shame because and again, it's a different generation, a different type of mentality than I had, but it's I do feel that BYU right now is a great place for you to develop. And I think that imagine him being a 5th-year senior. He would dominate much to what, Yol is doing right now, but to each its own. And if he does come back, I think that's a huge bonus and an uplift for BYU because he's athleticism, how long it was. It was a shame that he got hurt over the summer because at the end of last season, he was really flourishing at that, kind of garbage man, cleaning everything on the rim, pick and rolls, alley-oops, and all of this. So, but then the question comes, how do you play Dalton? And how do you play, Zach?
Good problem.
And how do you involve all of that in Kobe? It becomes a good problem, but nevertheless, at this part of the season, you kind of want your rotations locked in. And if you have a player of that caliber coming in, again, Mark Pope has a good problem, but nevertheless, I do see it as a problem.
Okay, Jonathan, in 10 seconds, is simply making the NCAA tournament enough for this BYU team?
Absolutely. When was the last time BYU made the NCAA tournament?
5 years ago.
And so you got to take baby steps. You got to crawl before you ever walk or even run. And so I know they were all excited and, let's win the game, goes 3-16, but, sometimes you do got to crawl before you walk and run.
All right. JT, good to have you back, man.
Appreciate it. Hey, thanks, Dad, for the suspension being uplifted. I appreciate it. I'm not in timeout anymore. So can I have
take your nose out of the corner?
Okay. Well, there we go. Thanks, Dad. I appreciate it.